The Hunter Girl and the Witcher, Chapter 1, The Hunt Begins. Elena had always known the forest. It was her home, her sanctuary, and her livelihood. From a young age, she had roamed its depths, learning the ways of the wild, the habits of the animals, and the secrets of the trees. Her father, a skilled hunter, had taught her everything he knew before he had fallen to the claws of a beast he had underestimated. Now it was just Elena, alone but determined to carry on his legacy. For weeks, the village of Hallow's Edge had been plagued by a series of vicious attacks. Livestock had been found torn to pieces, their remains scattered across the fields like a grim warning. Then, the attacks escalated. The beast, whatever it was, began to target the villagers themselves. 3 had been killed so far, 2 men and a young girl, her body found half devoured near the riverbank. The village was in a state of panic, and the elders had offered a generous bounty to anyone who could put an end to the terror. Elena took up the challenge. She had tracked wolves before, even taken down a few, but nothing could have prepared her for the sheer savagery of this creature. It moved through the forest like a shadow, leaving behind only death and destruction. The tracks she found were unlike any she had ever seen, massive paw prints, far too large to belong to any ordinary wolf. And the claw marks on the trees, they were deep, as though the beast had been gouging the trunks with iron talons. On the 3rd day of her hunt, as dusk began to settle over the forest, Elena found herself at the edge of a dark, foreboding ravine. The air was thick with mist, and the trees on either side seemed to close in around her. She could feel the beast's presence, a heavy, oppressive weight in the atmosphere. She knew it was close. Her hand tightened on the hilt of her dagger, the silver blade gleaming in the fading light. She had crafted it herself, forging the silver her father had left behind. It was her only hope against whatever monster she was hunting. A rustle in the underbrush caught her attention. She spun around, her bow at the ready, an arrow already nocked. Her heart pounded in her chest as she scanned the tree-like, searching for the source of the sound. And then, from the shadows, a figure emerged, not the beast, but a man. He was tall, with a muscular build and the unmistakable bearing of a warrior. His hair was white, unusual for someone who looked to be no older than 30, and his eyes were a piercing shade of yellow, glowing faintly in the dim light. He wore a long, dark cloak that billowed around him as he moved, and at his side hung a silver sword. "A hunter, alone in these woods," the man said, his voice deep and resonant. Not the wisest of decisions. Elena narrowed her eyes, not lowering her bow. "Who are you?" The man's lips curled into a small, knowing smile. "I'm Gerald, a witcher. And you must be Elena, the hunter girl I've heard so much about.